LA 21-12671. Offices in Baton Rouge.
WNXX, Jackson, KNXX, Donaldsonville, and WDGL HD2 Baton Rouge. This hour brought to you by Spencer Callahan Injury Lawyers, LA 21-12681. Offices in Baton Rouge. Now, Hunt Palmer on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Holding down the middle of the day. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge Studios. This is Hunt Palmer.
Welcome in. Hunt Palmer coming to you from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio downtown in the capital city on this Friday. Hope yours is going great. Casey Gaines and Taylor Sharp as a single man for the final time back there on the ones and twos. Glad you're spending some time with us. LSU and Arkansas underway out at the box. Hogs on top of LSU 1-0 in the bottom of the fourth inning. Keep you updated on that as we move forward. But we're not going to talk a lot of baseball today because, well, if you care about baseball, you're probably watching or listening to that. So a lot of basketball, some Sweet 16 reaction from last night and preview of today's action. David Grubb's going to come on and talk Pels at 1:30 as they got a win last night and continue to hang around. I got some thoughts on the SEC baseball weekend that is to come here at 2 o'clock. Michael Cobble's going to join us from on site with LSU women's basketball at 2:15 to give us a scene setter as Kim Mulkey's team will take the floor at 4 o'clock Central Time. I got some thoughts on the Elite Eight games that will come tomorrow that are already set. And, of course, we will play some Take It or Leave It. Our Friday show is brought to you by Cork's Cajun Fried Fish and Shrimp. Swing on by for a late lunch or make some plans to stop by there this weekend. Great stuff right there, government between Foster and Jefferson. We'll start with last night. Look, last weekend, the first weekend of the tournament, is chaos. I mean, it's absolute chaos. You got 100 games going on at one time. You got shots falling, buzzer beaters happening, upsets. It's chaos. This weekend, when done right, is excellence, and certainly next weekend is the same way. These are the teams that are playing the best basketball, and you've got high level stuff going on. And that last night was just a treat to watch. It was an absolute treat. I was hunkered down at 5:30 and watched every dribble through the end, and it was so much fun to watch. Michigan State and Kansas State got things started with an OT thriller up there in MSG. It was just phenomenal basketball. The teams combined to shoot 49% from three. They were 24 of 49 between the two of them. I thought late in regulation, trailing, that Michigan State was able to get great looks, especially at threes. Joey Hauser had two really open looks that he didn't knock down. Then you saw Akins bury a big one for him, and they clawed their way back into the game. And Marquise Noel, who I talked about yesterday on the show, he was just incredible. I mean, he throws in a banked three, which was a fluke, but it was just a highlight reel play. He's dishing out 20 dimes. The one mistake I thought he made was pulling up from 35 feet for three with 25 seconds left, up 2 points. That was a terrible shot. And it didn't go in. It would have been an incredible highlight if he makes it. Vermont made one like that back 10, 15 years ago where like, what kind of shot? Oh, wow. And you saw another one last night out in Vegas. But shooting a 35-footer up two with 25 seconds to go was questionable. But Michigan State got the ball down 2, 15 seconds to go. And I got a lot of this during the Will Wade era, that whenever a guy goes one-on-one and tries to score at the rim for the last shot, they're like, oh, that's just street ball. That's not a play. No, that was a play. Izzo ran a high ball screen. He knew Kansas State was going to switch it. They did. And he got the matchup he wanted on Walker. So right when they switched that ball screen, you saw all four other guys other than Walker sink to the corner. And they just said, okay, we got the matchup we want. We got the guy we want to have the basketball. It's in his hands. Let's go. And he attacked, got to the rim, and finished. And I thought that was great coaching and great execution by Michigan State. And then in overtime, the two that Ishmael Marood hits on the inbounds pass was just such a clutch shot. That's the exact shot you want them to shoot if you're Michigan State. And he ends up knocking it down. And that was massive. And then Michigan State, unable to get a look at the buzzer. It gets stripped, and Kansas State wins an absolute thriller. Saw Mateen Cleaves there in the crowd. I mean, it was just high-level basketball, drama, execution. Everything was awesome, and that was just the start of it. Now, over on the other channel at that point, UConn just put on a clinic. I mean, I said earlier this week that UConn I thought was the best team going, and that was a little bit of proof of it last night. It was just never a game. At halftime, it was 46-29. The Hogs had absolutely no answer for Sonogo, which I did not think they would. UConn shot 57% from the floor and 45% from three. And so that's not really what I'm talking about as far as the game goes. As far as LSU goes, if you're looking at that Arkansas team, now I think it's decision time for those young Hogs. Nick Smith, everybody anticipates he's a lottery pick. Didn't do much in his first year because of injury in Fayetteville and didn't have a great tournament. What's his decision like? Anthony Black, does he come back and work on his shooting ability? He's got all that you want an NBA point guard, the size, quickness, decision-making, handling skills. He just doesn't shoot it very well. And that's something that you can certainly work on in the league and worth taking a flyer on, in my opinion. Well, it's not even a flyer. We're taking a high draft pick on. But does he want to come back to Fayetteville and work on his jump shot? Jordan Walsh didn't shoot it very well, but he's got elite length, athleticism. He's going to be a really good defender in the NBA. Do those three freshmen decide to go? What does Ricky Collins decide to do? He's an older player, but he's got another year of eligibility. I mean, these guys could run it back if they want to, but I think you're going to see some defections from that Hog team. I certainly hope you will see some defections from that Hog team because those are some talented young players, so we'll see what the decision waits for them. Florida Atlantic and Tennessee. I mean, what have we been saying about Tennessee for 3 months? The offense is terrifying because it can just break down. And last night, with a lead, they go 6 minutes without a point in a tournament game. And exactly what I said yesterday, if they do that, Florida Atlantic is capable of burying a couple of threes and going on a run. Well, they hit 3, and there's a 9-0, and bang. Florida Atlantic's got a lead and a ton of confidence, and Tennessee just never recovered. Florida Atlantic had 22 points in the first half. They scored 40 in the second half on that Tennessee defense because they got some confidence going. And Tennessee's offense just stunk. 33% from the floor. That's not going to win games. I mean, they stifled Duke and allowed themselves to win a game where Duke scores 52 points. But Florida Atlantic kind of got going, and Tennessee doesn't have an answer for that. And they just, it was so predictable how their season was going to end. It was going to end at whatever point in the tournament, their offense just broke down. It wasn't going to be a situation where somebody cracked the code on their defense and scored 80. That was never going to happen. Florida Atlantic scored 62 points. It's not like they put it wasn't that great, but Tennessee scored 55 on a team that doesn't even play that good a defense. That was always going to be the issue for the Vols, and it finally cost them their year last night. And then I called it the main course yesterday. That game in Las Vegas, the nightcap, was sensational. Two of the best programs in the sport, the kings of the West Coast at this point, it was a display in Vegas last night. 79-76 at the final for Gonzaga. I hope Gonzaga has got some room in the rafters somewhere in their in the kennel, their arena, because Drew Timmy's number's going up there with the quickness. Not just because of last night, because of what he's done over his career there. But, I mean, good grief. 16 of 24, made his only 3, 36 points and 13 rebounds. If Mick Cronin can't figure out a way to stop you, you're good. And Drew Timme is real good. Just fundamentals, discipline, footwork. It's almost annoying if you're on the other team trying to defend it because at least you'd be demoralized if some guy, like Durant's pulling up from 30 feet at 6'11 and shooting threes, or some high-flying dunking guy you can't stop. This is just annoying because it looks stoppable, but it hasn't been for 4 years. And he was just so good, and Jaime Jaquez matched him, 29 points and 11 assists, for 11 rebounds for him. Look, it was always going to be, to me, the UCLA defense against the Gonzaga offense. Could Gonzaga's offense overcome that great defense? In fact, that wasn't the story in the first half because it was UCLA's offense that was incredible. They built a 13-point league. If I'm Mark Few, and I'm not Mark Few because he's awesome at coaching basketball and I'm not, but if I'm Mark Few, I'm going into the locker room at halftime going, boys, you give up 46 more points in the second half, we're going home. So you better strap in and play some defense. And they did. They only gave up 30 in the second half, and their offense is prolific enough that got them back in the game. Now, Timmy, for as great as he was, misses the 2 free throws, up 2 with 25 seconds left. And UCLA comes down, and Jaquez makes the pass off to Bailey, and he hits the 3, wide open 3 from the elbow, and UCLA's got the lead with 12 seconds to go. And then Gonzaga comes down, and they said they work on this, and they said he did the same thing in a game against St. Mary's. But Julian Strother does not need to be shooting literally from the logo in that spot. I thought that was a terrible shot, but he canned it. I mean, usually you say we pulled up from the logo. He literally had a foot on the logo when he let go of that shot. Now, that's a big logo. The tournament's got a bigger logo than some. But you got a foot on the logo. You don't need to be shooting that in that spot down 1. But he splashed it, and that's part of the lore, and that's part of the madness, and that's part of the awesomeness that was last night. Casey, do you have my picks available from yesterday? You do? Let's go ahead and see how those went as we just went through. So let's run the first pick back. I'm going to take Kansas State and the 2 points in this game. Kansas State wins outright. 1-for-1 for Hunt on the Sweet 16. I think UConn's the best team going right now. I'm looking at UConn -4. I'll take the Huskies. 2-for-2. Huskies win by 23. 2-for-2 in the Sweet 16. Pick number 3. I'm not 100% sure Florida Atlantic's going to win this game, but I like them catching the 5 points. I'm taking the Owls, FAU, and the 5 points. I like that play a lot. They win outright by 7. 3-for-3 in the Sweet 16. Give me pick number 4. UCLA is a 1.5-point favorite. I will take Gonzaga in this game. I think they're plenty good enough to get this done. 4-for-4, cash money. So what are we going to do in the next segment? Well, obviously, we're going to pick the 4 games tonight against the spread. You can get rich. I'm a college basketball savant. We're probably going to go 1-3 tonight. But hey, we'll do it in the next segment. It's the Hunt Palmer Show.
Hunt Palmer on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
LWCC is Louisiana Loyal, elevating and celebrating champions of Louisiana. And in March, we're telling you about Trey Godfrey. Trey has dedicated his career to bettering his city of Baton Rouge, our city of Baton Rouge. He's currently the Senior VP of Policy for the Baton Rouge Area Chamber. And in his work there, he oversees education policy. What's more important than helping educate our young people? And Trey is doing that every single day. That's why he's a champion of Louisiana. If you know somebody like Trey who's doing great work in our city, in our state, we want to tell their story. So go to lwcc.com/champions, lwcc.com/champions, and nominate them to be a champion for Louisiana. Maybe it's a nonprofit, maybe it's a business, maybe it's a person. We want to tell their story. Trey Godfrey is March's champion of Louisiana. LWCC is Louisiana Loyal.
Our listeners fire up their opinions on the jimsfirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the jimsfirearms.net hotline on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one. You. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
I had to leave my parents. I had to move schools. I don't know anyone here. Everything keeps changing. Why is this happening to me? I'm sure glad you're here.
Change a child's story. There's a child in foster care waiting for a volunteer like you.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Hi, I'm Brandon Landry, founder and CEO of Walker.
Hi, my name is Dr. Craig Green.
This is Ryan Terrio with HUDCORoofing.com.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. No matter how big your commercial roofing job, HUDCO can help.
My patients come to me because they trust that I can get the job done at a high level. Ryan Terrio and Richard Tilley have the same level of trust when it comes to roofing.
If you have a roofing issue, call HUDCO Roofing.
Give us a call, 364-1007, and we'll come to your house and give you a free inspection.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $10,000 off new 2022 Jeep Gladiators and $8,000 off new 23 Jeep Grand Cherokees. All new Bayou automotive vehicles come with a 1 million mile warranty.
Matt Moscona inviting you to join us for Friday's AFR, presented by Don Juan Cigar Bar. Since LSU Arkansas start at noon, we'll be a de facto post-game show. The right radio hours return. Join us 3 to 6, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is Hunt Palmer on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Our Friday show is brought to you by Cork's Cajun Fried Fish and Shrimp. It's a Lenten Friday. If you're looking for a late lunch or maybe picking up dinner on the way home, Cork's is always an awesome option. They're on Government Street between Foster and Jefferson. The menu's fantastic. If you're sitting at a desk right now listening or by your phone, go to corksfishandshrimp.com and check out their menu. You may be saying, I'm from South Louisiana. I'm not going through a drive-through joint for fried seafood. Just go once. This is not your typical fast food chain. It is quick service. It is delicious. How many fast food joints serving you up fried green beans with homemade ranch? How about their famous baked potato topped with crawfish etouffee and fried shrimp? Phenomenal. The fish is clean. Sometimes catfish can be fishy and muddy. Not over there at Cork's. It is crispy and clean. It's Gulf shrimp. They're delicious, perfectly seasoned. And the change they made a couple of weeks ago, I'm a big fan of. They don't have the crinkle cut fries anymore. They're going with the crispy shoestring fries, which were fantastic last week when I had them for lunch. It's Cork's Cajun Fried Fish and Shrimp from the folks that brought you Couillon's Barbecue. Get on by there on Government Street. You can drive through or eat in their newly renovated dining room. It is a new restaurant here in Baton Rouge, and it is fantastic. CorksFishandShrimp.com, bringing you our Friday shows. All right, let's talk Sweet 16 today. Got the second day of Sweet 16 action. Louisville and Kansas City, not quite Vegas and NYC. Not that it matters to the viewer at home, but if you're a fan that's going, man, MSG or out there in Vegas, like that's a trip. Telling me I'm headed to Kansas City. I'm like, wow. I realize that I'm talking about somebody whose favorite sport goes to Omaha every year, and that's not exactly a bustling metropolis, but hey, it's Louisville and Kansas City tonight. Alabama and San Diego State will be the first game on TBS. They'll crank up at 5:30 our time. Look, Brandon Miller no-showed in last weekend's games. He didn't score in the first one. He wasn't great in the second one. And you figure that's not going to last forever. But you got to wonder a little bit, like, where's his head? You've had all that's going on with him, and you got the NBA draft coming up where he's going to be a rich man. We'll see. I would imagine he'll shake out of it. That's my guess. This is going to be a game that's going to be determined, I think, by pace. Bama has multiple ways to beat you. They're good on defense. They can play fast. They can play a low-scoring game. They can do it kind of either way. If San Diego State's going to win this game, they're going to have to slow it down. Bama's 6th in the country in possessions per game. They play fast. They go. They shoot threes. They're ready to roll. San Diego State is 260th in the country in possessions per game. They want to play slow. San Diego State is also the number 4 three-point defense in college basketball. Now, that's a stat that I struggle with a little bit. When the sample size is this big, you can lean on it more than you could in, early January, because 3-point shots are kind of, guys can miss open threes a lot. And that doesn't mean you're a great defensive team. It just means that some guys miss some shots on you. I guess over the course of 35 games, if you're the fourth best in the country at it, maybe I'll lean on it a little bit. But that's going to be tested tonight because Bama's going to be letting them fly for sure. Now, in 2 of Alabama's losses, A&M and Tennessee held them to 61 and 68, respectively. It can be done. It's just not generally done, and Bama usually finds a way. I think Alabama is too much in this game. The line is 7.5. I will lay the 7.5 with Alabama, and I think they win. I think they cover. I think they move on. But I will be pulling very, very hard for my San Diego State. Aztecs? Yeah, Aztecs. You can tell I'm a big fan. I'll be pulling for them hard at 5:30 tonight. 6:15 on CBS will be Miami and Houston from Kansas City. Houston's in a 7.5-point favorite. Look, Miami is very offensive, and they're balanced in their offense. 4 guys average 13 points per game for them. Isaiah Wong is the guy that they run most of their stuff through. He's the ACC Player of the Year. He scored 27 on Indiana. He's fantastic. But they've got other guys that can hurt you, and that's why they're number 9 in the country in offensive efficiency. They're great offensively. Houston, you might have heard, is number 1 in the country in defensive efficiency. That's even better than Tennessee at this point. Now, Tennessee's schedule probably a little bit more challenging, but look, Houston is incredible on defense. So can Miami muster up enough offense against this great defense? That's going to be the question. Miami's defensive efficiency is the worst left in the field. So I guess that's 24 teams. It would be 16 and 8. So, yeah, I don't love that, quite frankly. I want you to play some defense. So they're going to have to do that. Houston ought to own them on the glass. Houston's a great rebounding team, and Miami is guard heavy and doesn't rebound it awesome. There's too many stats that lead me towards Houston here and laying the points. I can certainly see Wong going for 28 points and the rest of the gang knocking down some threes and them winning the game. I'm not a slam dunk on that as I am Alabama over San Diego State. But if push came to shove, I'm going to take Miami. I'm going to lay the 7.5 points here in Kansas City. TBS, 8 o'clock tip-off, Princeton and Creighton from Louisville. Princeton just punked Missouri last week. Probably not a game that everybody watched because it's Princeton and it's Missouri, and it wasn't really that competitive, quite frankly. It wasn't like it was a buzzer beater or anything. They just beat the brakes off Missouri. And if you were listening to Jimmy's show a little bit earlier, he was talking about this is not your standard, Ivy League 15 seed team. They can rebound, they can play a little bit, and I believe that too. Creighton is top 25 in the country in adjusted defensive and offensive efficiency by Ken Palm, which is great. That's a very, very balanced team, and they're playing great at this point. They're a 6 seed, but they're probably a little bit better than that. They lost their way, had some injuries, and now they're whole and they're playing a lot better. I love Brian Nimhard. He scored 30 points on Baylor last weekend, and he's fantastic. I think Creighton is Final Four good. I don't think Princeton is Final Four good. Usually when a team that's 13, 14, 15 that gets to this point, they kind of turn into a pumpkin, Cinderella style. I'm looking for that tonight. I think Princeton is good, but Creighton's much better. And so 9.5 is the number. I'm going to take Creighton and lay the 9.5 as well. That's 3 straight favorites, which is not the wisest thing to do, I wouldn't think. But I can see some of these games getting a little bit out of hand. At least one of those 3 is going to end up being 20 points, and that'll be a cover there. It may very well be Creighton against Princeton because I just don't think Princeton has the dudes to match up with Creighton. And the last one on CBS 8:45 tip is kind of the best matchup maybe of the lot. Xavier's a 3 seed. Texas is a 2 seed. They'll be playing in Kansas City. Texas, a 4.5 point favorite in this one. Xavier has 5 guys who average double figures. That's a heck of a stat. I like that a lot. On the Texas side of things, Marcus Carr and Timmy Allen have both scored over 2,000 points in their career. For perspective on that LSU style, only Pete Maravich and Rudy Macklin have scored 2,000 points in LSU history. Now, I realize that all records are a little bit compromised because of COVID, but scoring 2,000 points is a big deal, and it means you're seasoned and you can score. That's what that means. You got 2,000 points. Marcus Carr and Timmy Allen have both done that. Plus, Dylan DeSue at Texas, he was the Big 12 tournament MVP. He averaged 22 and 10 last weekend. So both of these teams Xavier with 5 guys who's averaging double figures, and then Texas with 2 2,000-point scores, plus the Big 12 tournament player of the week, and then last week did a great job in Dessous. There's a lot of dudes that can play on this floor, and this should be a really high-level game. I think this one matches up with what we saw Gonzaga, UCLA last night, Kansas State, Michigan State last night. That level of play we should see from Texas and Xavier tonight. I'm going to take the points in this game. I think this is going to be a nail-biter. I think this is going to be a tight game. I think it's going to come down to execution in the last 3 minutes of the ball game. Both these guys are really good coaches, it looks like. I mean, Sean Miller's a proven commodity. We'll see. Texas is going to take that interim tag off very shortly. I think I said this last week. I'm like, just because a guy inherits a team that's really good and does a good job, that doesn't mean you're a fit to run the entire program. I have no idea if he can recruit or not. I have no idea if he can run a program or not. Doing a pretty good job coaching a really good team. I'm not saying it's a terrible idea. I just think you ought to do your due diligence and go on a big-time search because you're Texas, and you should do that. But obviously, if the Longhorns win today, get to the Elite Eight, that case gets stronger and stronger to rip that interim tag right on off. But I will take Xavier. I will take the 4.5 points. Texas may win it. I think it'll be very, very close. So my picks, again, Bama laying the 7.5 against San Diego State. Houston laying 7.5 against Miami. Creighton laying 9.5 against Princeton. I will take the points with Xavier. 4-0 last night. We'll try to go 4-0 again tonight. Just put your cash on it. FanDuel Sportsbook. You can do it. Quick update. I'm going to try to get an update here from the box. Yeah. It looks like it's loading, so I'm not. There it is. Top 6. Arkansas 1, LSU nothing. Tigers really struggling to put anything together offensively. So if you want to listen to that game, you can find it on our sister station, Eagle 98.1. It's Chris Blair and Doug Thompson on the call over there. Incidentally, if you haven't heard this yet, LSU and Arkansas are going to play 2 tomorrow. Play one at 1 o'clock. They'll play the other one at 6:30 tomorrow night from the box. Both games going to be 9 innings. So just trying to dodge rain anywhere they can this weekend. Not ideal, but the crowd looks pretty good at the box today. So we'll keep you updated on that as we move forward. Matt's show is going to kind of turn into a de facto post-game show tonight today on AFR. He'll have Terry on, and I'm sure they'll have a lot to talk about. I want to remind you, next Thursday, I'm going to be out at Rally Cap Brewing. It's on just off Seagan, right on Pennywood right there. We're going to be out there from 3:30 to 5:30. It's Major League Baseball opening day. I'll be watching my Cubbies. They're going to be cooking up some brats over there. We're going to have some delicious Rally Cap beers on hand. Come on out. We want to see y'all at 3:30 to 5:30 next week. And I'll also be kind of tailgating for Skeens and Dolander on a Thursday night at the box when Tennessee comes to town. So very much looking forward to being out at Rally Cap 3:30 to 5:30 next Thursday. Come on out and see us over at Rally Cap. All right, we'll take a time out. When we come back, David Grubb's going to join us. He of the Hard in the Paint podcast. Pelicans got a win last night. They needed it. They're hanging around. We'll get David's thoughts on all that next on the Hunt Palmer Show.
Hunt Palmer on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
One Bath and Closets. OneBathAndClosets.com is the website. How much better would your home life be if you got a brand new closet? Maybe you got shoes everywhere, suitcases shoved in there, can't find anything. Let One Bath and Closets come in and customize a closet for you. They start with a questionnaire. Sometimes that means man of the house may have to step out while the lady admits how many shoes she has. That's okay. David Duvall and his team have heard it all. They start with the personalized questionnaire, see what you have, what do you need space-wise, and they put together a solution for you. If you tell them the Hunt Palmer Show sent you to One Bath and Closets, they're not going to charge you to rip out your current closet. They're not going to charge you the installation price of the new one, just the cost of the unit over there at One Bath and Closets. Customize a closet today, and they can help you with the bathroom as well. Maybe it's a full-scale renovation. They can do that. It's just one contractor, one call. He handles it all. Or maybe just a tub-to-shower conversion, something simple. It's not very time-consuming, or it's very cost-effective. Could change the way your bathroom looks and the way it functions. OneBathAndClosets.com is the website. Head over there to OneBathAndClosets.com.
In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
I had to leave my parents. I had to move schools. I don't know anyone here. Everything keeps changing. Why is this happening to me? I'm sure glad you're here.
Change a child's story. There's a child in foster care waiting for a volunteer like you.
I've got that blue sky, I've got that sunshine.
Bayou Ford has $10,000 off MSRP on select new 2022 Ford F-150 trucks. $10,000 off plus 0% financing. And all new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
Louisiana. It's a place defined by culture, by pride, by passion, by people who do more than love this place. They celebrate it, elevate it, champion it. They are the individuals who embody what makes Louisiana great. The companies that make Louisiana a better place to work and live. The nonprofits leading transformational change in our communities. Champions of Louisiana are all around us, and LWCC is proud to celebrate them because we've always been Louisiana loyal, supporting the workers, the innovators, the change agents of this great place we call home. Who are the champions around you? Together, we can share their stories. Together, we can help our home state thrive. Together, we are Louisiana loyal. Always.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Monday edition of Game Time from Finbom and Burbank and Lee. We'll know who the Final Four is set. We'll recap all of the weekend's actions. Game Time from Finbom, Monday, 6 to 8 p.m. on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
You're listening to Hunt Palmer on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Pels had to have it last night, and they got it. Charlotte's not very good, but the Pelicans defended their home floor, a 115-96 win. To talk about it, David Grubb, Hard in the Paint podcast, talking all things New Orleans with our guy, David Grubb. David, how are you on this Friday?
I'm doing well.
Good. B.I., triple-double last night. Pels had to have it. We'll talk about it in a second, but how gut-wrenching do you think for that team was that blown lead in Houston over last week?
I mean, that was a huge loss.
Yeah.
You're talking about them being the difference between them being a game under 500 and 500 right now, and going into this last stretch of games, which is the most difficult 9 games that you're going to see at any part of the season. It's just a really tall task for them to not end up with a losing record this year. And if they don't, that's 5 straight losing seasons, which would be extending the franchise's longest streak.
It just feels like that one may come back to bite them. As crowded as everything is, being on the road with the lead against Houston and having that thing slip away with Jabari Smith there at the buzzer just feels like it's going to matter. But they did respond, got a win last night, B.I., with the triple-double. Anything more than just holding serve last night?
I mean, you can't help but be impressed, by B.I.'s efficiency shooting the ball the last couple of games. It's been very good. But other than that, no, I don't think it's been particularly impressive to watch them beat 3 bad teams. And when you look at particularly at the Spurs and the Hornets, the Spurs didn't have an NBA team on the floor. And they were in that game, not from the outset it was over. By the end of the first quarter, that game was done. And then last night, Charlotte finished the game with 7 players.
Yeah.
Their entire backcourt went to the locker room. They lost Kelly Oubre. They lost Dennis Smith Jr. They lost Terry Rozier. That's a lot of points. And they were in it for 3 quarters. They were right there, down by 4 points. and shooting above 50% from the floor. So defensively, I think there's still things you have to be concerned about. And they beat 3 of the worst teams in the NBA at home. That's what they're supposed to do. That's what they should have done, over the course of this season for the most part. But they haven't. And now they've got 9 games, 8 of them against winning teams, 4 of those coming up on the road. And we still haven't seen them beat a winning team on the road since October 30th.
Oh, I didn't know that stat. I think you've given me that before, but I didn't know we were still extending to that. That's a little discouraging as you head out on the road, which the Pels will do here now. One of the talking points over here on various shows on the station has been that the Pelicans maybe have not used Jonas Valanciunas enough on the offensive end of the floor. Do you share that contention?
Yeah, I think we have to keep it in perspective here. I don't think Jonas's usage is the difference between this team meeting expectations and not. But they have failed to utilize him in situations where it's been advantageous. If Jonas Valanciunas is on the floor, you have to take advantage of his offense because he is not a great defender. So if you're not getting points from him, he's giving up points on the other end, then it doesn't make sense to have him on the floor.
Yeah.
But he's all the Pelicans have in the front court. If they don't have him in the post, there's no balance.
That's correct, yeah. And so as now they head out to play the Clippers on Saturday, Portland, Golden State, and Denver. What's the goal here over those 4 games to get 2 of them?
I think that's your best hope because you look at that schedule and you're talking about the Clippers, which are playing very good basketball even without Paul George.
Right.
Portland, you're thinking that's your win, but it's still a difficult place to go play.
That press conference that Lillard gave this week kind of made me think they're almost packing it in up there.
Yeah, I think they are, but you can't ever take a team for granted.
Sure.
Last night the Hornets, you would expected them to pack it in with that, level of injury and absence, but they played hard until they were just too tired and too overmatched. So, they're going to give you a game, and then you have a back-to-back against the best home team in the league, the defending champs. And then you go to Denver, which is one of the 2 or 3 toughest places to visit in the league. So, yeah, it's if you can get 2, that's huge. But you're thinking it's probably going to be those first 2 rather than those last 2.
Right, and if it doesn't go well in those first 2, all of a sudden you can start kind of looking at this going, this is the math starts to get very, very difficult if you don't handle business in those first 2 keys against the Clippers and then Portland on Monday.
For the Pelicans, it's always stopped people from getting to the rim so easily. If you're giving up a ton of points in the paint and you're allowing teams to hit threes, then they're going to lose. And if they turn the basketball over, and they've turned it over, at times way too much. But you saw Brandon Ingram yesterday, no turnovers in his game. If he can keep that up, because he's been one of the main culprits as far as turning the basketball over, they're going to have to keep it around 12, 13 turnovers a game on this road trip. And then, like I said, protect the paint a lot better. But these are all teams that they're going to face that can shoot the ball from deep and have really good top players, in Kawhi Leonard, Steph Curry. So there are a lot of really talented players on this road trip. So I think the Pelicans, that's going to be the key for them the entire trip.
Independent of when Zion's going to come back or when he's not going to come back or whatever, what do you make of the fact that every time the Pelicans give an update on Zion Williamson, it's woefully short of what the actual absence is going to be?
I think it does no service to Zion Williamson.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
I think it doesn't help anybody in this situation, but especially Zion, because it reflects on him more than anyone. The question is always why? Why isn't he coming back? And we never hear from Zion, so I don't know why that barrier still exists. If it's that personal, I get it. We're not obligated to know the ins and outs, but he's been remarkably quiet over the course of all of this, and we just don't get a lot of information. So I was surprised to hear Willie Green say, don't be surprised if he comes back to the court immediately once he's cleared. I wouldn't have even gotten into that because I wouldn't want to be in the speculating about when Zion is going to return business. And for me, if I'm a player or coach in that organization, you have to act as if he's not coming back anytime soon.
So if he is cleared and ready to go with 2 games left in the season, is it worth it to put him out there at that point?
I think it depends on, for the Pelicans, I think it depends on where they are with 2 games to go. If they can still get into the postseason and feel like they have a chance, they're going to put them on the floor. And that's, I'm worried about the risks like everybody else would be. Is it worth it to go into the playoffs where you know you're not going to win a championship, to risk him not being ready for the start of next season when everyone's job in this organization is going to be on the line next year? David Griffin, Willie Green, Zion Williamson, Brandon Ingram, every player is going to be on the line if they underachieve next season. So I think it's a lot of pressure to put on this playoff series and him coming back. It doesn't seem worth it to me. But I imagine the organization, if he's cleared to go, they're going to put him on the floor.
What would you do if he was cleared to go and they let you make the decision?
To me, it's just not worth it.
Yeah.
It's with his history, you can't give me a value assessment that says the risk of him doing this now is going to hurt us more now than it will in the long term. I think the benefits just aren't there.
Do you believe if he comes back having not played for 3 months, 3.5 months, 4 months, whatever it is at that point, and there's 2 games left to go in the season, does he make them a markedly better basketball team when you insert him in there having not played for 3 months?
No, I don't think he would in those first 2 games. I think people have to remember his last 8 games before he got hurt, the Pelicans were 2-6. So there was a problem even then. So you're asking a guy to come back and relearn his place with the 2 most intense games of the season, with the entire season potentially on the line, and people looking at him. If he fails in that situation, what does that mean for his relationship with the Pelicans, the fans' relationship with Zion? All of those things start becoming a conversational topic for the off season, and I don't think that's a drama you'd want to invite.
Man, it's just so weird to be having these conversations after what we were talking about around Christmas, but it can change course very, very quickly. David, we appreciate your time. Have a great weekend, man.
You do the same. Thanks so much.
He is David Grubb, Hard in the Paint podcast. Always appreciate his insights on the Pels. I'm kind of with him on the Zion deal. If you're telling me he can come back and play in 2 basketball games with his track record of injuries, where this team is and where you think they could possibly go, I just don't understand the value of it. And it's tough. This is a thing I always talk about with like college athletes, is like if a guy's healthy and ready to go and you're playing a non-conference game that doesn't matter really in football, you're going to win it by 50 and you tell them they can't play. It's like, man, these guys wake up at 4 a.m. and go run wind sprints all August and they go through classes and then film work and practice and all this kind of stuff. And they're ready to play and there's a game and there's only a couple of them. And you're like, we don't want you to play. That's a hard conversation to have. Now, when you move it up to multi-million-dollar athletes, it changes a little bit. But Zion wants to play and he's available to play. It's tough to tell him, hey man, you got to sit. But for the betterment of the organization, I don't think there's any question that you just got to minimize risk wherever you can with Zion. The reward of him playing in 2 games, so you can maybe get in the play-in game and probably lose that. I don't know that's awesome. So I'm just kind of right there with him. We'll see what the Pels can do on this road swing. It's certainly going to be a tough one. They're at LA on Saturday night to play the Clippers, at Portland on Monday, then down to Golden State on Tuesday, and they'll finish things up at Denver on Thursday before they come home for 4, and their last game will be at Minnesota on the 9th of April. They've won 3 in a row against bad basketball teams. That bad basketball teams bit stops as they play on Saturday against the Clippers, who are pretty good. Our Friday show is brought to you by Cork's Cajun Fried Fish and Shrimp. Swing on by Government between Foster and Jefferson. Get some late lunch on this Lenten Friday, or swing by and get some dinner. It is fantastic over there at Cork's. Check out the menu, corksfishandshrimp.com. We'll take a timeout, come back. Notice something about all these workouts that the quarterbacks are going through at pro days, and I want to give a few thoughts on that. That's next on the Hunt Palmer Show.
Hunt Palmer on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This March, protect yourself against upsets with Bracket Parlay Insurance on FanDuel Sportsbook. Right now, all customers can get up to $25 back every time your parlay of 3 legs or more falls 1 leg short. With a parlay, you can turn a small bet into a slam dunk, and with cash out, you're calling the shots. You close out your bet whenever you want to before the game is over. Just sign into your FanDuel Sportsbook account or go to FanDuel.com/1045ESPN to sign up today. That's FanDuel.com/1045ESPN. Make every moment more with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Must be 21 and present in Louisiana. Bonus issued in all withdrawable bonus bet. Expires 7 days after receipt. Max bonus bet $25 per day unless otherwise specified. Restrictions apply. See full terms at FanDuel.com/sportsbook. If you're somebody who knows a gambling problem wants help, call 1-877-770-STOP.
Our listeners fire up their opinions on the jimsfirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the jimsfirearms.net hotline on 1045 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Bayou Ford has $10,000 off MSRP on select new 2022 Ford F-150 trucks. $10,000 off plus 0% financing. And all new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
I had to leave my parents. I had to move schools. I don't know anyone here. Everything keeps changing. Why is this happening to me? I'm sure glad you're here.
Change a child's story. There's a child in foster care waiting for a volunteer like you.
All right, let's say ah.
Where'd my spotlight go?
Super weird, but we can take care of it.
Get in and get better at Patient Plus.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
The best kept secret in town is out. Discover Tallulah at the Renaissance Hotel on Bluebonnet.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Hi, I'm Brandon Landry, founder and CEO of Walker.
Hi, my name is Dr. Craig Green.
This is Ryan Terrio with HUDCORoofing.com.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. No matter how big your commercial roofing job, HUDCO can help.
My patients come to me because they trust that I can get the job done at a high level. Ryan Terrio and Richard Tilley have the same level of trust when it comes to roofing.
If you have a roofing issue, call HUDCO Roofing.
Give us a call, 364-1007, and we'll come to your house and give you a free inspection.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine.
Charles Hannegriff, join us for the Monday edition of Hanny Time. We recap the NCAA tournament plus LSU's 3-game set with the University of Arkansas. Hanny Time, noon weekdays, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is Hunt Palmer on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Wrapping up hour number 1 here. ESPN can't help themselves. You got the NCAA tournament in full swing. You've got the NBA regular season winding down. You've got so much great things going on in sports, and they are just slamming the NFL draft right into your brain all day, every day. Every time I turn on Get Up or anything in the morning or whatever, it's just NFL draft, NFL draft, NFL draft. And I look up right now at ESPN2, and I got Bryce Young's face right on the screen, and they're going through pro day stuff. I look up in Todd McShay's at pro day for Will Levis today, and it's like they will get you your NFL football, I promise you. But one of the things I have noticed in taking that in for 8 minutes every morning while I give Myers his bottle is that every time there's a pro day with one of these high-profile quarterbacks, there's one person in attendance. That person is David Tepper. A lot of you probably know who David Tepper is. Some of you may not know who David Tepper is. He owns the Panthers, and of course they have the first pick. So I'm looking at this from two different perspectives. One, which is what was said yesterday, Dan Orlovsky on ESPN said, David Tepper is going to make this pick. He's going to pick the quarterback that leads his franchise. That may be true. It may not be true. David Tepper may just be showing up to be a hands-on owner who wants to meet prospective employees of his club and going to let the GM decide what they want to do. If that's the case, this is phenomenal ownership. I think it's great that David Tepper and his wife are taking the time to meet all of these quarterbacks and want to, be involved with whoever and have a good relationship with whoever they're handing the keys to this offense to. If he's there to evaluate them, throwing footballs and looking at tape and to telling the general manager, hey, this is the quarterback, I think that's the guy you take, then that's awful. I grew up really not paying attention to ownership whatsoever. And as I've grown up and kind of done this now for a living and paid a little bit more attention, and certainly dealing with the Cubs the way that I have over the last 20 years, and specifically the Ricketts ownership over the last 12, it matters a lot. And I'm critical of owners who I think do the wrong thing. Now, there's a reason these guys and women have ascended to this level of wealth and it's this status. They're obviously bright people who know what they're doing. But as I find, it's often in their field. David Tepper's a hedge fund manager. I'd love him investing my dollars. I don't want him picking my quarterback. And in my opinion, if you're an owner, and you hire a head of football operations, general manager, whatever that title is, they should do all that work. The owner should have no input in what quarterback is drafted. I don't need you going to pro day, watching them throw a few out routes and going, yep, I like that guy. We're going with Stroud. You tell the general manager. No. The golden rule, who has the gold makes the rules. Sometimes it works that way. But the thought of the hedge fund manager picking the quarterback drives me nuts. And it feels like David Tepper's very involved there. Maybe he's not. Like I led with there. Like maybe he's just there because he wants to take an interest. And it's a personal thing for him, not a football thing. And that would be great. I think that's wonderful. I think the boss of any organization having a relationship with their employees is a really important thing. Flynn Foster in these halls walks and says hey to everybody every day. And that's awesome. But from the football perspective side of things, like overstepping your boundaries to me makes no sense. And there's an ego portion to it, and there's a smartest guy in the room portion to it. And when I heard Dan Orlovsky say that yesterday, I was like, surely not. Surely the guy that's been crunching numbers on Wall Street for years is not going down to pro day and evaluating Bryce Young's ability to hit the 9 route. Like that cannot be what we're talking about here. But we'll see. But good ownership is really important. And I think people like David Tepper, with as much money as they have and the ability to spend and invest resources and be involved the way that things are going up with the Mets with Steve Cohen, I think that's great until you start doing other people's jobs. That's the part where I'm just like, I can't handle that. I still haven't decided who I think the number one pick is going to be or who I think I would take. I think at this point, because we haven't really gotten into a lot of draft coverage, I think at this point, I would lean towards myself selecting Bryce Young. It feels like the Panthers are leaning towards C.J. Stroud, but a lot can change over time. All we know is that the Saints are going to have a brand new opponent as a quarterback next year, maybe Andy Dalton, but you figure the next guy is going to be in your lives for 4 or 5 years, maybe longer if it works out. So we shall see how that goes. It is fascinating, though, and I salute the Panthers for giving up assets and go and make a play and get that first pick and try to push off the dock. It's just going to be an exciting deal. See what they do. But if the owner's picking the quarterback, I think that's very, very dumb. We'll see. Our Friday show is brought to you by Cork's Cajun Fried Fish and Shrimp. Their recipe for their batter, born right here in the seafood capital of the world, South Louisiana. If you're familiar with Couillon's Barbecue, It's the same folks who give you Kuyon's Barbecue. They've started a new concept here in Baton Rouge, quick service fried fish and shrimp. Delicious, delicious stuff. It's clean. It's not dirty and fishy. The catfish is crispy, which you don't always get in a quick service restaurant, and those Gulf shrimp are fantastic. Try out the baked potato. It is loaded with crawfish etouffee and beautiful fried Gulf shrimp. If you're looking for a Lenten meal, no meat involved, Corks right there on Government between Foster and Jefferson, a great spot, and they give you our Friday shows here on the Hunt Palmer Show. Checking in over at the box. Well, we're not going to check in over the box because it's commercial. I think that's probably a good thing because LSU was on defense, but LSU struggling right now. It was 1-0 at last count. They were headed to the 7th inning. If you missed any of hour number 1, you can catch it on demand, 1045ESPN.com's on demand tab. All our shows are right there. All the audio always uploaded every day. If you're more of a Spotify, Apple Podcast, or Google, you can find all of our stuff there. Just search The Hunt Palmer Show. We'd appreciate it if you like, subscribe, rate, or review. Open things up, talking about the Sweet 16 from last night, which was fantastic. I previewed tonight's games as well. David Grubb from Hard in the Paint podcast, talking Pels. When we come back after the break, we'll have some thoughts on the SEC baseball weekend to come, and Michael Caldwell from WBRZ is going to join us on site with LSU women's basketball as they tip off 2 hours from right now. Come back with us after Sports Center on Palmer Show.
Follow us on Twitter at 1045ESPN to cast your vote in the Citizens Bank and Trust poll of the day. Vote daily inside Off the Bench, anytime. Hunt Palmer. And after further review, Citizens Bank and Trust brings you the poll of the day via Twitter at 1045ESPN.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $10,000 off new 2022 Jeep Gladiators and $8,000 off new 23 Jeep Grand Cherokees. All new Bayou automotive vehicles come with a 1 million mile warranty. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou is going to do right by you.
Louisiana. It's a place defined by culture, by pride, by passion, by people who do more than love this place. They celebrate it, elevate it, champion it. They are the individuals who embody what makes Louisiana great. The companies that make Louisiana a better place to work and live. The nonprofits leading transformational change in our communities. Champions of Louisiana are all around us, and LWCC is proud to celebrate them because we've always been Louisiana loyal, supporting the workers, the innovators, the change agents of this great place we call home. Who are the champions around you? Together, we can share their stories. Together, we can help our home state thrive. Together, we are Louisiana loyal. Always.
I had to leave my parents. I had to move schools. I don't know anyone here. Everything keeps changing. Why is this happening to me? I'm sure glad you're here.
Change a child's story. There's a child in foster care waiting for a volunteer like you.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Hi, I'm Brandon Landry, founder and CEO of Walker.
Hi, my name is Dr. Craig Green.
This is Ryan Terrio with HUDCORoofing.com.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. No matter how big your commercial roofing job, HUDCO can help.
My patients come to me because they trust that I can get the job done at a high level. Ryan Terrio and Richard Tilley have the same level of trust when it comes to roofing.
If you have a roofing issue, call HUDCO Roofing.
Give us a call, 364-1007, and we'll come to your house and give you a free inspection.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one. You. Ochsner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Sports. I'm Kevin Winter. Huge day of basketball for the University of Miami. Both the men's and women's teams play Sweet 16 games in their respective NCAA tournaments. The women are a 9 seed, and they're underway against the 4 seed Villanova in Greenville 2 Regional. It's currently airing on ESPN, and the Hurricanes have a 4-point lead, 21-17, 1 minute to play in the opening quarter. All 4 women's games today are available in succession on ESPN television. As for the Hurricanes men's team, they face one of the 2 remaining 1 seeds left in the men's bracket. It's Miami against Houston in a Midwest Regional semifinal tonight in Kansas City. The South Region's top seed, Alabama, they tip at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time against San Diego State. That game will be in Louisville. Final 2 games of the night of the men's side, 15th-seeded Princeton, the darlings of the tournament, against 6th-seeded Creighton. That's the South Region game. Midwest, it's 3rd-seeded Xavier against 2nd-seeded Texas. Opening day in Major League Baseball. Next Thursday, today, the Cardinals give Miles Michaelis a 2-year contract extension. ESPN's Jesse Rogers reports Michaelis gets $40 million of the deal. He'll also get the ball next Thursday for St. Louis.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. They're close, convenient, and have the parts you need fast, along with excellent customer service from professional parts people you can trust. Stop by your local O'Reilly Auto Parts today or visit O'ReillyAuto.com.
Now, Hunt Palmer on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Holding down the middle of the day. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios. This is Hunt Palmer.
If Moscona comes in here in an hour and some of this expensive equipment in the studio has been shattered with a baseball bat, it's because LSU's got base runners getting picked off at first base when there's a runner on second base and 2 out in a 1-run game. And I have broken the expensive equipment. That did not make me very happy, quite frankly. All right, we do have to get into one more hour of the show. Our Friday show is brought to you by Cork's Cajun Fried Fish and Shrimp. From Greenville, Miami 23, Villanova 19. That is the game prior to LSU. And if the Tigers were able to beat Utah, they would get the winner of this game. That game is winding down in the first quarter. We'll talk with Michael Cauble here in about 15 minutes to get scene setter from Greenville. How many fighting Tiger fans have made it up there? I know one. Brian Kelly, head football coach, is up there in Greenville today watching Kim Mulkey's team. So we'll get a preview of that game coming up here. SEC baseball this weekend. Had one game last night between Auburn and Georgia, and it was just an absolutely an atrocious effort by the Georgia bullpen. They managed to give up 3 runs in the 9th to tie the game, and it goes into extras, and Auburn wins it in the 11th. There's a throwing error involved. It was just a breakdown of epic proportions by a Georgia team that's not very good. They're 0-4 in league play. I don't think Auburn is very good either. The final score was 7-6 in 11 innings. Auburn gets the win in the Thursday night action in Southeastern Conference. That's not a series I want to spend a ton of time talking about. I do want to talk about some other ones. Vanderbilt is headed to Mississippi State in Starkville. That's a 3-0 versus 0-3 matchup. Vandy swept Ole Miss last week, and Mississippi State was swept in Lexington. Look, this is a Mississippi State team that needs to win with their offense. The pitching has not been great. They have tried 3 different iterations of a weekend rotation. None of it has really stuck. They're last in the league in fielding percentage. They walk the most hitters in the league. They've got to slug their way to wins, and Vanderbilt is tough to do that against. Ask Ole Miss. Ole Miss went up to Nashville last week and got absolutely blanketed by this Vanderbilt pitching staff. Carter Holton will take the ball tonight for Vanderbilt. He's been sensational. And it's just one guy after the next for this Tim Corbin team. their issue has been offense, and they found some against Ole Miss. So my kind of takeaway from this, and LSU doesn't play Vanderbilt this year, so it's not that big a deal, but I'm just still curious in watching Vanderbilt if they've found something offensively. If they go to Mississippi State and knock it around a little bit, you'll think, man, maybe they found a little something with the offense, and that makes them a very, very dangerous team and a team that can compete for the SEC championship with teams like Arkansas, LSU, Florida, Tennessee. So I'm curious to see how that one goes. Mississippi State is very seriously staring 1-5 or 0-6 in the conference down. Now, look, anything can happen. Missouri swept Tennessee last week. I told you I thought Tennessee would sweep the series, so Mississippi State may sweep Vanderbilt for all I know, but it feels like Vanderbilt's going to win this series. If they win 2 out of 3, Mississippi State's looking at 1-5. If they sweep it, 0-6 for Chris Lemonis and the Dogs. So that'll get underway at 4 o'clock, coming up here in 2 hours. It'll be streaming. Huge one in Knoxville for a couple of teams with losing SEC records after a week. As week 2 series go, none of it's must win, but the math starts to work against you at a certain point. We're not there yet, but say A&M goes up there and takes 2 out of 3 from Tennessee. Well, Tennessee would be staring at 1-5 with a trip to Alec Box coming up on deck. And you're not done in terms of like tournament stuff, but you start to talk about trying to be a national seed where you think you need 19, 20 wins in the league, and you're 2-7 after 3 weeks. That gets pretty tough, right? So this is a big one. Tennessee's starters got roughed up at Missouri. The question is, can anybody look at that on tape and figure out what happened and replicate it? Easier said than done. And my gut tells me Tennessee bounces back this weekend and wins a series against Texas A&M. Same way I felt about LSU going to College Station. I think A&M is too good to get swept, but I think they're the lesser team in this series, and I think that they'll get a game, but they will lose a couple. I'm curious to see how A&M shifting their rotation is going to go. Of course, y'all remember back on Sunday of last week when LSU couldn't hit left-hander coming out of the pen for Texas A&M. He's going to start a game this weekend. They're going to mix things up, put Chris Cortez back in the bullpen, where I think if he throws strikes, he can be an X factor for him because he throws 98 miles an hour. But he just hadn't been great throwing strikes, and so he hadn't been great as a starter. But I'm interested to see what happens. Maybe just like we were talking to Joe Healy yesterday from D1 Baseball, maybe it was just the fact that Tennessee went to Missouri. It was freezing cold, and they just didn't play very well in 40-degree temps. Maybe that's it, and maybe there's something deeper than that, and there's a reason why Tennessee went out west and lost 2 of 3 on that weekend. There's a reason they went and played a solid Missouri club and got beat all 3 games. So Texas A&M and Tennessee at 5:30 tonight. I'll probably be watching a little bit of that one as well on the laptop while I have basketball going on the TV. Missouri, how for real are you, Missouri Tigers? Battle of Columbias. This one will be in Columbia, South Carolina, as the Gamecocks welcome Missouri. And both these teams coming off a sweep last weekend. Missouri obviously swept Tennessee, like I said, and South Carolina did some sweeping in Athens against the Georgia Bulldogs. You real, Missouri? Good weekend in Texas in the opener. Got a couple of wins against the Big 12. Now you go to a South Carolina team that we all think is pretty good. They're 20-2. They've got real pitching that has been impressive, and they keep slugging. I was wondering, okay, South Carolina's hitting all these home runs. Great. You're hitting a bunch of home runs against teams no one's ever heard of. The Citadel, you're going to do it in SEC play, and they were bashing balls all over Foley Field in Athens last week. So I'm interested in the result of that series as well. I think whoever comes out of that one feels a little bit more legitimate as a real contender here in the Southeastern Conference. I mentioned Georgia and Auburn. That one doesn't do much for me. I'll save a really interesting one coming up because it's postponed to tomorrow. But Kentucky and Alabama are another interesting series in Tuscaloosa. We know that Alabama got off to that gaudy start. They tripped over themselves against Columbia. And then they went to Florida and really acquitted themselves nicely. Yes, they lost 2 out of 3. They couldn't hit Brandon Sproat, and that happens. But they were very competitive in the 1-run loss they had, and then they won game 3. So nice job. Come back home and see what you can do against Kentucky. I am not a believer in Kentucky. They're 19-2. They're 3-0 in the league, and I don't think they're very good. I don't love their arms. I don't think they have any pop in their lineup, which is rare for a Kentucky team, especially in that ballpark. They lead the league in bunts. They steal a lot. That all is fine and dandy when you're playing against teams that don't throw very hard and have trouble picking up bunts and throwing them out. You get into big boy baseball with some of the teams you're going to face week in and week out in the SEC, and I have my doubts. I'd like to see you step up and hit a few 3-run homers. So I'm not a real believer in Kentucky, but we'll see. I changed my mind. You go to Tuscaloosa and win 2 out of 3 or sweep them, I'll think more of you, but I'll probably think less of Alabama if that's the case. What happens there? I think the most interesting weekend for me is Tennessee and A&M. Second on that list is Florida and Ole Miss. I think Florida's really good. I think they're great. I think their rotation's great. I think their defense has been good. I think the lineup's awesome, and it'll get even better when Langford comes back in the next couple of weeks. And I'm not big on Ole Miss right now because they just haven't figured pitching out. And then they didn't hit last week. If they're not going to hit, then they're toast. Because if you can't get Alderman rolling and Gonzalez rolling, if you can't get JT McCants rolling, Will Furnace, Ethan Groff, like if those guys aren't hitting, they don't have the pitching to deal with it. So you're facing an elite staff here. Top 3, top 4 in the league, for sure. If Ole Miss doesn't hit this weekend, I can start sounding some alarms. They may be in a little bit of trouble, quite frankly. They're at home. It's a great environment, and we'll see if that buoys them a little bit, and they kind of come to, because last weekend they were asleep in Nashville. That game tonight between Ole Miss and Florida has been postponed. They'll make it up later in the weekend and get their 3 games in. But the weather obviously rolling through the Southeast right now, and LSU's trying to do whatever they can to get 3 games in. And same thing goes for Ole Miss and Florida. So they'll figure things out with a doubleheader tomorrow and then a game on Sunday. Update from the box: Tigers still trail 1-0 in the top of the 8th inning. Hagen Smith is in the game for Arkansas. I know that most of our listeners are, if you're baseball inclined, you're probably listening to baseball. But the one thing I will mention about this game is Hagen Smith's now been in the game for 2 innings, and he's going to throw 35, 45, 50 pitches in this game. If LSU can find a way over the next 6 outs to tie or win this game, and Hagen Smith throws 50 pitches, you got a doubleheader tomorrow, so he won't get a day off. He may not be able to go tomorrow. In fact, he probably won't. So the calculus switches and the scales tilt way in LSU's favor for tomorrow, with Hagen Smith being unavailable. So it's very difficult to score on this guy, but if you can do it over the next 2 innings, you've got a real chance to win this series tomorrow without Arkansas's best arm available. So that's just a thought as we move forward here. Our Friday show is brought to you by Corks Cajun Fried Fish and Shrimp. CorksFishandShrimp.com. Check out the menu. I promise you, it is fantastic. We'll take a time out. When we come back, Michael Cauble is up in Greenville. He's watching Miami and Villanova. That's a 4-point game right now as Villanova just put one in. So Miami leads that game by 4 in the second quarter. Winner gets the winner of LSU and Utah. We'll talk to Call about it next on the Hunt Palmer Show.
This is Hunt Palmer. In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
I had to leave my parents. I had to move schools. I don't know anyone here. Everything keeps changing. Why is this happening to me? I'm sure glad you're here.
Change a child's story. There's a child in foster care waiting for a volunteer like you.
The best kept secret in town is out. Discover Tallulah at the Renaissance Hotel on Bluebonnet.
Hey, it's Matt Musso. Join me Monday through Friday for your daily update on LSU baseball with Musso at the Box, presented by New Orleans Flooring. Wherever you get your podcast, Apple, Spotify, Google, and check out New Orleans Flooring. 2 locations, Metairie and Prairieville, or NOLAFlooring.com.
Louisiana. It's a place defined by culture, by pride, by passion, by people who do more than love this place. They celebrate it, elevate it, champion it. They are the individuals who embody what makes Louisiana great. The companies that make Louisiana a better place to work and live. The nonprofits leading transformational change in our communities. Champions of Louisiana are all around us, and LWCC is proud to celebrate them because we've always been Louisiana loyal, supporting the workers, the innovators, the change agents of this great place we call home. Who are the champions around you? Together, we can share their stories. Together, we can help our home state thrive. Together, we are Louisiana Loyal. Always.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Hi, I'm Brandon Landry, founder and CEO of Walker.
Hi, my name is Dr. Craig Green.
This is Ryan Terrio with HUDCORoofing.com.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. No matter how big your commercial roofing job, HUDCO can help.
My patients come to me because they trust that I can get the job done at a high level. Ryan Terrio and Richard Tilley have the same level of trust when it comes to roofing.
If you have a roofing issue, call HUDCO Roofing.
Give us a call, 364-1007, and we'll come to your house and give you a free inspection.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Matt Moscona inviting you to join us for Friday's AFR, presented by Don Juan Cigar Bar. Since LSU Arkansas started at noon, we'll be a de facto post-game show. The right radio hours return. Join us 3 to 6, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
You're listening to Hunt Palmer on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
4 o'clock will be your tip-off for the Lady Tigers Sweet 16 action from Greenville, South Carolina. So let's go to Greenville, South Carolina. Michael Cauble of WBRZ will join us from there. Cauble, I heard your interview with Matt yesterday. Did you get a chance last night or maybe this morning to see some more tulips?
I did. In
Wow.
fact, I took more pictures, and I was accosted yesterday for some money. So
Oh, no.
things are balancing out a little bit in Baton Rouge.
Okay, so the Caubles are likely to keep their residence here in the capital city. All
We'll stay at least for the time being.
All right. Well, that's great to hear. So, look, you said yesterday not a ton of LSU presence day before game day. Now it is game day. You've gotten to the arena. Is there a little more purple and gold visible?
A little bit more. Yeah, a little bit more. I think a lot of them are probably waiting, not wanting to sit through this Villanova-Miami game. But, no, there was definitely some more purple and gold shirts outside the arena and downtown when we were having lunch. You saw a little bit of a presence. So, yeah, it's good to see. And, again, I think that'll be a deal where, they show up on game day and right before game tip-off to support the Tigers.
What's the energy in the arena like in terms of the size of the arena and then the attendance for this game? Is it a reasonable, good crowd?
No, right now it's a little lightly attended, but I guess that maybe that's not all that surprising either. So, I thought Miami might travel a little bit better, but Villanova certainly brought a lot of people. You just would think that there would be a little bit more people here, but as I said on a different show, it's going to take a while to grow the game, and they're doing a good job of it, but they still have a way to go.
Look, Miami's not going to travel much of anywhere.
Right,
They just don't have a very big fan base, and quite frankly, they're not all excited about leaving South Florida to go really anywhere else. So they're going to hang out down there. LSU in their first two games of the tournament, what did you see that impressed you?
Just the defense, really. Michigan, it was a different level, Hunt. I mean, the intensity and ferocity with which they played was at a totally different level, and it showed. I mean, they held them 7 points in the first quarter, 8 points in the second quarter. I think that set the tone, and then they were able to make a couple of shots from the perimeter, which really separated things right away. So I say LSU is playing their best basketball right now. And there's a couple different factors as to why. You see a renewed commitment. Angel Reese really feels like she disappointed her team with her showing in SEC tournament game against Tennessee, and she did. She didn't play a great game. It was brought to her attention rather, factually, and I think she took it the right way and used it as fuel. Alexis Morris didn't have the best game in the first game back in Baton Rouge, but the rest of the team was able to carry her through, and she responded in the second game. So you're seeing a lot of complimentary basketball right now, I guess, is the best way to describe it. But the defense was what set the tone and made the difference in that first one.
I want to get to defense because obviously Utah's a very offensive team. We'll talk about that in a second. But can LSU win 2 games this weekend and advance to the Final Four if they shoot the ball just like they did last week?
Well, I don't know. I mean, they didn't shoot it great.
Right, that's the point.
So I don't know that they'll be able to win. Miami right now is just, it's a frenetic pace at which they play. I think they're going to wind up beating Villanova. And obviously they took out number 1 Indiana. So they've got some skins on the wall and a lot of confidence right now. And that's a dangerous team, right? So I don't know that LSU can keep pace with them if that defense doesn't show up again. I will say if they play defense like they did against Michigan, then yes, they could absolutely punch their ticket to Dallas. Because I don't think there's any team here that has the things that LSU doesn't match up well enough against, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
South Carolina's on the other side of their bracket, so they don't have to worry about facing them here. But everyone else is a little bit apples to apples, I guess, as far as the style of play and the player that they present out on the floor. So if that defense does show up, yeah, they could probably shoot it that way in advance.
What makes Utah a good offensive team?
They spread it around, and they have an interior-exterior component to their offense. They can score it inside. They've got a big bottom girl, that can really get in there and move some people off the block and clean up some things around the rim. But then they also have some perimeter shooting. They can give you challenges. And LSU's going to have to cover both. And that's where most basketball teams struggle. We certainly saw it with them inside, their inability to close out. And I think it's a challenge for anybody, but that's what winds up, getting things a little lopsided is in the inability to defend both the exterior, the perimeter, and the interior.
Do you think LSU's going to try to slow things down today?
I do, yeah. Yeah, a little bit. Everybody sees the numbers that Utah scored 100 points, whatever. They really only had a couple 100-point games against really bad teams.
Yeah.
They lost, with 56 points showing against one of their conference games right at the end of their season. So, there's different aspects to it, but I definitely think that LSU's going to try to muck it up a little bit defensively, see what they can do on the offensive end, and go from there.
Because I asked that because Utah doesn't play a lot of defense, and you might think, well, let's just go score on these folks.
Right, but I think that's exactly what Utah wants them to do.
Yeah.
Right, get into a track meet, and I think LSU's going to try to prohibit that and not necessarily play into their hand as much.
Now that it's apples to apples, last year LSU's talent level wasn't quite good enough to reach a Final Four. Now that they do have the players to do that, how big an advantage is having Kim on that sideline?
It's another level, man. Like you don't think about it until you really dig into the numbers. Just it's not a coincidence, dude, that she's been to the Sweet 16. Like it's 3 national titles. It's not a coincidence she'll be able to get it done. It's a fascinating dynamic. She is the coach. She doesn't want to mess around with a lot of the ancillary stuff, and the way LSU has it set up, she doesn't have to. So she's the difference maker. And she gets them to buy in and believe and hit the right buttons, keep it. Foul trouble I think will be an issue today. So composure, maybe that was the other thing I didn't talk about being a difference maker. Just the composure that LSU's been able to play with, I think, is huge. And Kim's got to have a hand in making sure that sticks around.
Has she changed her tune a little bit in terms of the expectations and all that, or is she still saying, we shouldn't really be here? Or is it how's she been in press conferences?
Yeah, she's still doing the poor mouthing, a little bit. I said it's like Lou Holtz all over again. Hey, we're just happy to be here. We'll see how it goes. So yeah, she's still doing a little bit of that, and kind of gets setting the tone of expectations. But I think she understands what she has, and I think most people understand that next year is going to be that big step, for the team, and really see how it goes from there. So the talent that they're bringing in, right? Talent that they already brought in this first year, it's been remarkable. I don't think you can dispute that. And where they go from here, I think, can be just as equally remarkable, right?
What do you think the result is this weekend?
I think she has a chance, man. I really do. If they can get past this team and their ability to score it, I think they've got a good shot at going to Dallas. So that means they probably lose tonight, right? You and I are basically the same guy as far as picks go.
Hey, I was 4 for 4 against the spread last night in the men's Sweet 16, so deal with that.
All right. Look at you. Hey, way to go, buddy. I'm sure you didn't put any shekels down, though.
No, I did not. I did.
Yeah.
I put 0 shekels down.
Yeah, you and I, I'm telling you, you and I are the same guy, right? Would love to bet, just can't afford it.
Like to watch you bet, but I'm not going to put the money down. Well, just for your education, as you sit there covering the basketball team, the Tigers got a home run from Brady Neal in the bottom of the 8th to tie the game. Now the bases are loaded with 2 outs for Trey Morgan to see if LSU can take the lead here, maybe steal one against Arkansas, who has used their best bullpen bullet. Hagen Smith has thrown 41 pitches now in today's game, and we have a tie ball game in the 8th inning. So 6-10 tonight for you from Greenville.
Yeah, we're gonna do a little preview at 4:00. That's what I'm getting ready to. The team's getting ready to show up. Utah just rolled in, so I hope you appreciate me sacrificing my Utah video to talk to you and do your show. Hey, real quick, Joe Bear overrun the bag or just got straight picked off?
Just got straight picked off with a runner on second base. It was very, very bad. And Trey Morgan just popped foul to end the inning. Tommy White and Trey Morgan both foul pop-ups with the go-ahead run on second in scoring position, which is a little disappointing.
Get on top of it and drive it. Let's go, Hunt.
They head to the 9th over at the box. Cauble and Greenville Tigers and Utes at 4:00 our time. Look for them at 6-10, and the preview coming up at 4:00. Thanks, Cauble.
Thank you. Have a good one.
He is Michael Cauble from WBRZ. So they head to the 9th in a 1-run game. I'm losing my mind over here. They've got to find a way to win this thing, and they just need their best hitters to come up with that moment there, and it just didn't quite happen for them. So when we come back, I will give you my thoughts on the Elite 8 games for tomorrow. Should be an incredible 2 basketball games over in NYC and Vegas. Very much looking forward to it, so I'll give you my thoughts on that. Our Friday show is brought to you by Cork's Cajun Fried Fish and Shrimp. Drive through or dine in that beautifully new renovated dining room over on Government Street between Foster and Jefferson. The folks that bring you Kuyon's Barbecue, bringing you Corks, and they bring you our Friday shows here on the Hunt Palmer Show. You're listening to 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hunt Palmer on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Safe to say the tournament is heating up, and there's no better place to get in on the action than FanDuel. It's America's #1 sportsbook. It's because right now FanDuel is giving new customers, so if you haven't signed up yet, sign up. You get a no-sweat first bet up to $1,000. That's up to $1,000 back in bonus bets if your first bet doesn't win. So go to FanDuel.com/1045ESPN. That's how they know that we sent you over there. FanDuel.com/1045ESPN and sign up today to claim your no-sweat first bet. And you can wager on everything from the money line to point spreads to which team will be cutting down the nets. I was 4 for 4 yesterday. I'm giving out free money. Just go back and listen to the first hour, and you can hear that. It's all on an app that's safe, secure, and super easy to use. So don't miss your shot at a no-sweat first bet. Up to $1,000 when you join FanDuel today. Just go to FanDuel.com/1045ESPN to sign up. Make every moment more with FanDuel. Must be 21 and present in Louisiana. First online real money wager. Only $10 deposit required. Refund issues non-withdrawable bonus bet that expires in 14 days. Restrictions apply. See full terms at FanDuel.com/sportsbook. If you're someone who has a gambling problem oneself, call 1-877-770-STOP.
Our listeners fire up their opinions on the jimsfirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the jimsfirearms.net hotline on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
I had to leave my parents. I had to move schools. I don't know anyone here. Everything keeps changing. Why is this happening to me? I'm sure glad you're here.
Change a child's story. There's a child in foster care waiting for a volunteer like you.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one. You. Ochsner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Louisiana. It's a place defined by culture, by pride, by passion, by people who do more than love this place. They celebrate it, elevate it, champion it. They are the individuals who embody what makes Louisiana great. The companies that make Louisiana a better place to work and live. The nonprofits leading transformational change in our communities. Champions of Louisiana are all around us, and LWCC is proud to celebrate them because we've always been Louisiana loyal, supporting the workers, the innovators, the change agents of this great place we call home. Who are the champions around you? Together, we can share their stories. Together, we can help our home state thrive. Together, we are Louisiana.
Monday edition of Game Time from Finbom in Burbank and Lee. We'll know who the Final Four is set. We'll recap all of the weekend's actions. Game Time from Finbom, Monday, 6 to 8 p.m. on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is Hunt Palmer on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
What a half by the Miami Lady Hurricanes. 46 points. They lead Villanova 46-33, a 13-point lead at the half. Winner of that game gets the winner of LSU and Utah from Greenville. Just chatted with Michael Colville about that one. LSU and Utah, 4 o'clock today, so an hour and a half from right now. Over at the box, LSU and Arkansas are tied at 1 in the top of the ninth. Massive, massive game for this weekend because both teams kind of using their best bullpen bullets. We've seen Hagen Smith for 3 innings for Arkansas. Chase Shores is out there right now. Christian Little's warming up. Team's kind of going all in to try to win this one, and if you use your best guys today, maybe not able to use them as much tomorrow or at all tomorrow in a doubleheader, which will be 18 innings of baseball. So pretty important ball game going on at the box right now. You can listen to it on our sister station, Eagle 98.1. Speaking of important ball games, we're going to see a couple of them tomorrow in the Elite Eight. Florida Atlantic and Kansas State will play at Madison Square Garden. And then you'll see UConn and Gonzaga from Vegas in the nightcap. Look, FAU's good. They're a good team. They can score. They can shoot. John L. Davis is a stud. Dusty May is a really good coach who's going to have his opportunities very likely in this coaching cycle if he wants to move on from Florida Atlantic. They are very good. I don't want to take much away from them there, but I will take a little bit away. You know, as people say, I don't want to take anything away. I'm going to take a little away. They got a good draw. They beat Memphis by a point. Really good win. Absolutely. Then they get Fairleigh Dickinson, and then they got a Tennessee team that is good, but has an atrocious offense at times, and that showed itself last night. So the draw for this deep in the tournament has been good for Florida Atlantic. Get a little help not having to play the 1 seed. You get Fairleigh Dickinson instead. For me, Kansas State is just too complete. I'm a little concerned about Marquise Noel's ankle. He rolled it a little bit, came back in the game, but that's kind of an adrenaline go. You tape it and you go. 2 days later, how does it feel? We'll see. He's such a good player. Didn't seem to be showing any ill effects in press conference, whatever, but it can be a little bit sore the next day, certainly 2 days later. So I'm a little concerned about that, but Keontae Johnson's also awesome. Like, he's so good. And I still couldn't tell from the press conference yesterday if that yelling match between the coach and the point guard, and then he throws the alley-oop, if that was scripted or not, if he was, I don't know what the deal was, but certainly you did understand when Marquise Noel said he told somebody, watch this, and then came down and threw an alley-oop to Keontae Johnson. What a resurgent story. Keontae Johnson, I mean, he really torched LSU when he was at Florida. Had that tragic deal where he collapses on the floor, can't play for Florida for a couple of years, and now has come back and transferred out to Kansas State, and now he's putting on a show and headed to the Elite Eight. I just think Kansas State is too complete here. And while I certainly won't rule out Florida Atlantic getting hot and scoring 80 points and winning this game, I will take Kansas State. I will lay the 2 points because I just think that Kansas State is a better basketball team than Florida Atlantic is, and I think that will show itself through. That's where I am on that one. But I'm excited to watch it. I'm more excited to watch UConn Gonzaga. That is big boy basketball. That is the second part of what makes the tournament so great. The madness and chaos and delirium that is the first 4 days is fantastic. And I love Fairleigh Dickinson winning and Furman throwing in a buzzer beater to beat Virginia and all that kind of stuff is great. But by the time you get to this point, I don't need any more Fairleigh Dickinson. I don't need any more Furman. I want the dudes. And UConn and Gonzaga are the dudes. And they will play out west in Vegas for the right to go to the Final Four. Connecticut is a 2-point favorite. I mean, you look at the matchups in this game. Sonogo versus Timmy. Maybe 2 of the top 3 or 4 players in this entire tournament. I mean, you can't dismiss what Marquise Noel did, and there are certainly other guys that have played great in the tournament. But Sonogo was so good last night. Arkansas had no answer for him. Timmy was historically good last night. And those two will face off. And it's a little different game, but it's still big dudes going to work around the rim. And I can't wait to watch that. You know, Julian Strother has scored 28 points in 3 of the last 10 games for Gonzaga. He's been awesome. On the UConn side, Jordan Hawkins gashed Arkansas for 24 points. He's been fantastic. I was really taken by Gonzaga in the game they played against Alabama. I knew that Alabama was going to be good. They were playing Gonzaga in a neutral site down, but it was in the state of Alabama. I think it was in Birmingham. And I watched the second half of that game, and I thought that there was no chance that Gonzaga would ever get the ball and not score. And we know Bama can play defense. They've got athletes. Miller can defend. Sears can defend. Bediako is an elite defender around the rim. They got size, length. They got the whole package on defense. Gonzaga lit them up like they were a JV squad from a high school down the road. It was clinical. And I was taken by that. And last night in the second half, at times it kind of looked like that for Gonzaga. They've got that much skill on offense. And UConn looks just as good. I mean, I could watch Hawkins play all day. And Sonogo's just a monster. Hurley's got those guys playing so well, and they're so balanced. And that's the point with these two teams is it sounds like it's Sonogo and Timmy, or it's Hawkins. But the deal is it's all 10 guys on the floor can hurt you. That's what I want to watch this time of year. So this is going to be incredible basketball. Connecticut is a 2-point favorite. I will lay the 2 points. I think Connecticut right now is the best team in the tournament. We were talking yesterday to Matthew Bruni, and he said he picked them before the tournament started to be the national champion. I think if he put some dollars down on that, that's looking pretty good because they look just to be playing incredible. Arkansas was just non-competitive yesterday, but this is the game of the weekend to me. Is those two teams in Vegas, and I think UConn is going to win it. So I will take UConn. I will lay the 2 points, and I'll lay the 2 points with Kansas State as well. That line seems short to me, which gives me a little bit of pause. Maybe Florida Atlantic's a little bit better than I'm giving it credit for, but I'm looking at that draw going, I don't know about all that. So should be an awesome day of basketball tomorrow in the Elite Eight. All right, got to check over. Tigers did get out of the ninth, but there are 2 outs in the bottom of the ninth. How am I expected to do a radio show here when I got this going on at the box? This is just far too much for me to handle. To even do the show, I have to put my notebook in front of me and then go to a different tab on my laptop because I'll be sucked into it too much. But it appears they're going to be headed to extras over at the box unless the Tigers can find something pretty special here in the bottom of the ninth with 2 outs and nobody on. Jordan Thompson did hit a walk-off home run in Minute Maid last year, so let's see if he can rekindle that. But we shall see. A big game between LSU and Arkansas. They cranked up at noon today, and now we head to extra innings over at the box. When we come back, we're going to wrap up the week's show. We're going to play a little bit of Take It or Leave It, but we're also going to hear from Taylor Sharp in his final hours as a single man and see how he's feeling, how things are going. Rehearsal dinner last night. Get a report on that, and we'll see how things are progressing for my guy on his wedding weekend. So come back and close out the show. It's the Hunt Palmer Show.
This is Hunt Palmer. In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
The best kept secret in town is out. Discover Tallulah at the Renaissance Hotel on Bluebonnet.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
I had to leave my parents. I had to move schools. I don't know anyone here. Everything keeps changing. Why is this happening to me? I'm sure glad you're here.
Change a child's story. There's a child in foster care waiting for a volunteer like you.
Louisiana. It's a place defined by culture, by pride, by passion, by people who do more than love this place. They celebrate it, elevate it, champion it. They are the individuals who embody what makes Louisiana great. The companies that make Louisiana a better place to work and live. The nonprofits leading transformational change in our communities. Champions of Louisiana are all around us, and LWCC is proud to celebrate them because we've always been Louisiana loyal, supporting the workers, the innovators, the change agents of this great place we call home. Who are the champions around you? Together, we can share their stories. Together, we can help our home state thrive. Together, we are Louisiana loyal. Always.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Hi, I'm Brandon Landry, founder and CEO of Walker.
Hi, my name is Dr. Craig Green.
This is Ryan Terrio with HUDCORoofing.com.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. No matter how big your commercial roofing job, HUDCO can help.
My patients come to me because they trust that I can get the job done at a high level.
Charles Hannegriff, join us for the Monday edition of Hanny Time. We recap the NCAA tournament plus LSU's 3-game set with the University of Arkansas. Hanny Time, noon weekdays, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
You're listening to Hunt Palmer on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Leadoff walk for Arkansas in the 10th. You just can't put the leadoff man on. You're going to make me break the equipment in here. I'm going to lose it. 1-1 tie, LSU and Arkansas in the 10th inning. Our Friday show is brought to you by Cork's Cajun Fried Fish and Shrimp. CorksFishandShrimp.com. Check out the menu. It is fantastic. I know people from South Louisiana are going, I'm not getting fried seafood from a place where I can drive through. Just go once to Cork's, I'm telling you. It is a different, quick service experience. The fish is not soggy and fishy. It is crisp and clean, crunchy. The Gulf shrimp is fantastic. Their recipe born right here in the seafood capital of the world, South Louisiana. The folks that brought you Couillon's Barbecue, brought you Cork's Cajun Fried Fish and Shrimp. You get a bowl of etouffee. They've got that over there. You can get fried green beans with their homemade ranch. They've got awesome sauces over there. They've got their Cork sauce, which is their specialty sauce. They can help you out with tartar sauce. They can get your ketchup, remoulade. They can get your cocktail sauce, homemade ranch. They've got it all over there at Cork's. They've got you helped out for catering as well. If you've got a party or got a tailgate or doing something, need to serve a bunch of people, let Cork's be your catering supplier. They're happy to help you. The butter rolls are fantastic as well. So just go by Cork's. It's Lent. It's Friday. Not going to eat meat for dinner. Cork's has got you covered right there on Government between Foster and Jefferson. They bring you our Friday shows, and we certainly do appreciate Cork's. All right, let's play some Take It or Leave It, Taylor Sharp.
Yeah, let's knock it out. Aaron Nola will start on opening day for the 6th straight year. Nola is the greatest pitcher in Phillies history. Take it or leave it.
I'll stop short of that. I'm going to leave that. They've had a couple of good ones. Doc Holliday, pretty good. A little postseason no-hitter. He was pretty good. They've had a number. Steve Carlton was also fairly good. So not going to go there, but Aaron Nola has been sensational. I said multiple times in various interviews and whatnot that when teams were going to draft Alex Bregman and Aaron Nola, what they were getting, we talk about ceilings all the time, what they were getting in those two was an incredibly high floor. There was no way Alex Bregman wasn't going to play quality defense for you and give you a good at bat. He's way exceeded that and become a star in the game and a postseason hero and a multi-time world champion, and he's been phenomenal. And Nola, there was no way he was not going to throw strikes with good command and be, at very worst, a 4th or 5th starter in the big leagues quickly. And he's blown by that as well, to be a frontline ace-type guy who's been durable and consistent in Philly. He's been fantastic and certainly getting paid for it. So it's been great to watch those two guys blossom in the MLB. But we got to fall a little bit short of the greatest pitcher in Philly's history there.
My guy here, Ezekiel Elliott.
Yeah.
He's reportedly contemplating the Bengals, Eagles, and Jets. Zeke and Cincy, take it or leave it.
I'm going to leave it. I know they're looking to try to replace Samaje Perine. He moved on to Denver. They've got Joe Mixon there, who's going to be your workhorse back. I know that you liked Zeke last year in short yardage, thought he was efficient there in short yardage and goal line type stuff. I think there are other guys you can get that are going to be a little bit more cost effective and have a little bit more tread on the tires, quite frankly, to use that cliche. He's been used a lot at Ohio State and in Dallas. And unfortunately, at that position, you start to get passed by for younger, cheaper players. So the Bengals are spending some money. They certainly did on their offensive line and looking at places elsewhere. I just don't know that Zeke is the fit at running back for me. So I will leave that.
Yeah, I like the Eagles the best for him out of all those three.
How would that make you feel if Zeke was playing for the Eagles?
Not great. Look, I'll throw this one at you. The San Francisco 49ers.
Yeah, I mean,
other than McCaffrey, they have nobody. They needed somebody at the goal line. I mean, Zeke was good at that last year.
He was.
The Carolina Panthers have signed former LSU wide receiver DJ Chark to go along with veteran Adam Thielen. The Panthers will be the best team in the NFC South over the next few years. Take it or leave it.
Whew. You're putting all your chips on whatever quarterback they draft. That said, you're looking at Derek Carr one spot. You're looking at whatever the Tampa's going to do with Baker and Trask and whatever that's going to look like. And then I don't know what the future is in Atlanta either. So I'll leave it. I'll probably lean on the Saints very slightly there because their quarterback is more proven. They've certainly, I think, probably got the most upside of anybody in the next 5 years. If they hit on this quarterback and he's great in year 2, if they get, Allen or Herbert or Burrow type performance from those guys early in their career, the ceiling's higher. The ceiling's not very high for the Saints with Derek Carr, but they're better than those two teams. So right now I've probably got to lean to that side. But DJ over there with is Terrace Marshall still with them? I think he is. So
yeah,
little
he's there as well.
Little LSU flavor in Carolina. That'll do it for Take It or Leave It here on this Friday. All right, Taylor Sharp, you're so lucky and so blessed. because you now have the opportunity to speak to a guy who gets married all the time. I've been married twice in the last 7 years. So I've got all the answers. You've got the ability to ask any question you would like. I will start by saying, how are we feeling in the days leading up to our nuptials?
Oh, man, we're good. We got everything ready to go. Look, I'm
Are your groomsmen being morons?
Yes.
That's very common.
Well, 2 of the 5 are not. The other 3 are. So
okay. Do they know who they are?
Probably. Probably so. But, yeah, 2 of them are being really bad. One of them, he's got to take it or leave it. But, I mean, they're fine. I went and picked up everybody's tuxes myself yesterday. I was like, there's no excuse why you shouldn't have it with you, so we should be good to go.
I'm in a terrible mood now because Arkansas just hit a 3-run home run, and I want to crawl under this desk and go into the fetal position. But we'll continue doing the show. All right, well, it's good to hear that you've kind of got that part under control and that you're feeling good. The question would be, is the fiance functioning at a level that's going to get her to Sunday?
Oh, yeah. She was a little stressed yesterday during the rehearsal dinner, but, I mean, we're fine. She's worried about the weather, okay? So Sunday
doesn't look great.
It's about an 80% chance of rain, like a 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. But the reason we picked this venue, it's outside typical, but you can move it inside. It looks beautiful in there as well. So I don't think it's an issue, but I'll get this one at you. Rain on your wedding day. What is your thoughts?
Well, I will tell you that my first wedding was in Florida, and the weather was spectacular. I mean, unbelievable day. And that one was over in 3 years. So that doesn't seem like a good omen. I will say that this wedding day that I just had back a couple of years ago was fantastic too, and it was in February. So January. Ugh, got the month wrong. No, it is February 26th. Good thing she doesn't listen. See, don't do things like that on the air. Get your anniversary date wrong. See, these are the kind of lessons that I'm here to teach. So yeah, the thing is with the fiance, the bride to be leading up to the wedding, they're going to be nervous. They're going to think things are going to go wrong. And guess what? The wedding's going to happen. It might rain. It might not. The photographer might show up and might not, but the wedding's going to happen, and it's all going to be just fine. That's the message that you've got to convey.
Yeah, I got the side eye yesterday because I said, look, this is as stressful as you make it. And that was not the correct thing to say, apparently.
Yes, but it's true. They just don't want to hear it. They just you have to let them freak out and panic, and that's just the way that it's going to go. And if they want to do that, they're just going to do it. It's just kind of the way that things go. So are we honeymooning?
Oh, yeah. We're so I took Monday off of work, obviously.
Sure.
We're not leaving out till Tuesday. We are going to Aruba for 7 days.
Oh, man. I love to hear that. So
and look, I know you're upset about the baseball weather this weekend. I checked the forecast for Aruba. High 82, low 75 on next week.
Oh, you love to hear that.
That is perfect weather.
Do we have any activities planned for Aruba, or is this just a relax and veg out type deal?
We got a couple. They have like a little mini submarine tour we're gonna do. I've never done anything like that.
I have not either.
I've
done some snorkeling in my day, but I've never done any kind of mini submarine tour.
She's not gonna do snorkeling.
Why? Are you scared of fish?
Kinda. There's this sort of 4-wheeler tour we're gonna do, like up the dunes and the mountains in Aruba or whatever. We're gonna do that as well. There's some stuff.
So it's always interesting to me when like couples get together and they start to go on vacations. Like my sister and her husband are diametrically opposed on vacation activities. My sister wants to arrive at the hotel and sit at the pool and cook herself for 5 days straight and never leave. My brother-in-law wants to be up at 5 o'clock in the morning, walking the streets, taking a tour, just going, doing something. He thinks you're wasting your entire day if you sit by the pool and read and fall asleep and go get a cocktail. So I'm fascinated by their little vacationing strategy, because one wants to sit and do nothing and the other wants to do something all the time. It's always a little bit of an interesting type deal.
We're kind of there as well. I mean, I don't want to get up at 5 a.m. and do those things, but I'm definitely more of a out and about type of person. She could sit on the beach all day.
Yep.
I don't like the beach. I don't like sand.
Yeah, the
it's
sand
not
deal.
my thing. So like, I'm fine with going out on the beach 2 hours a day, coming back. I mean, she could do it all day.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit different there, but I mean, we'll be fine.
All right, well, the nuptials coming up on Sunday, rain or shine, should be great. Nerves may creep in. I'll just tell you this is the one piece of actual advice I will give you. This weekend will go by very, very quickly. It'll be over before you know it, so take a second to, like, soak in some things. It's really cool to look around at your wedding and see all the people that you care about and know and are friends with or family, like everybody's in one spot to see you, and that just doesn't happen really for anything else. So it's a cool thing to sit and look at once you're in the middle of it, but it goes real fast.
Yeah, I'm excited. That happened to me yesterday. I was at the rehearsal dinner, and the coordinator's looking for the groom. I was like, oh, that's me. Like, I've been in a few weddings. I was like, but this is my rehearsal dinner. So, it's a little bit different.
That's exactly right. Well, I'll be there, and I'm very, very much looking forward to it. So, Taylor Sharp, when we next see you, you'll be a married man and probably have a little bit of a sunburn. So, use sunscreen. There's another free tip for you there. Happy to do it. Arkansas has pulled ahead of LSU, hit a 3-run home run off of Christian Little. So, Tigers way up against it in this one as they it's commercial. I'm assuming they're headed to the bottom of the 10th inning, but maybe LSU's going to a pitching change because haven't gotten anybody out. I don't know because I'm sitting here trying to do the radio show, but it's very, very disappointing that the Tigers, who had a chance to put this thing away with a big swing in the 8th inning, were unable to do it, and Arkansas has pulled ahead and has taken the lead in Game 1. They'll play 2 tomorrow if you are not caught up on that. First game will be at 1 o'clock. Second game will be at 6:30. Tigers and Hogs from the box. Big, big, big weekend. And LSU up against it in game number 1. That'll do it here for our show on a Friday, brought to you by Cork's Cajun Fried Fish and Shrimp. If you missed any of it, you can catch it on demand, 1045ESPN.com, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, anywhere you find your sound. You can find it, and, of course, all our shows always archived on YouTube. Matt's going to have basically a post-game show as he drives you home here on After Further Review from 3 to 6, Riot Radio Hours and all that fun. We'll be back same time, same place on Monday. Have a great weekend, everybody. It's the Hunt Palmer Show.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one. You. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
I had to leave my parents. I had to move schools. I don't know anyone here. Everything keeps changing. Why is this happening to me? I'm sure glad you're here.
Change a child's story. There's a child in foster care waiting for a volunteer like you.